And you shall be careful to observe according to all that they teach you. God from the beginning has always warned mankind to be careful because he knew false teachers are going to be coming in a different way. We went through that already. Be careful to observe according to all that they teach you. So if it's a real man of God teaching you from the altar and a place that the Lord have chosen, according to the terms of the law which they teach you, and according to the verdict which they tell you, you shall do. You shall not turn aside from the word which they declare to you, to the right or to the left, the winner and the loser based on what the priests have said. The civil court, when they try case, the appeal goes to the priest. The matter settled by the laity among themselves, it goes to the priest, because right from time, the priest being closest to God and a representative of God have always had jurisdiction over all, even the judges. So when I make declaration and say some things, I don't speak without authority. It's backed with a heavenly power and authority. The man who acts presumptuously by not listening to the priests, who stands there to serve the Lord your God, nor to the judge, that man shall die, thus you shall purge the evil from Israel. Then all the people will hear and be afraid, and will not act presumptuously again. The reason why we talk about enforcement, when that enforcement takes place, then all we hear, when the warning came about certain behaviors going on that comes from the United Kingdom and what God will do, but people did not believe and listen. So when the enforcement came, people will hear and they will fear, because God himself carries the big whip. As you saw in the 2 Peter 2 in the New Testament. And I'm describing the duties of a priest. When I said there are description of duties for every position and authorities that is within the church, there are examples and precedents. The New Testament did not cancel out everything. It explains it in a better way. To take into the account God coming to the world to show us example and restore us through the doctrine of grace. That's grace is a new law that supports the old one. The First Chronicle chapter 21, 10-13. The word of the Lord says, consider now, for the Lord has chosen you. The Lord have chosen you to build a house for the sanctuary. Be courageous and act. When the Lord have chosen you as a priest, as a man of God, in which capacity, whichever capacity he had called you, if you look at 1 Corinthians chapter 12, different anointing that the Lord gives to people, say be courageous and act. And in book of Romans 12 from verse 3-8, you will hear Paul's letter to the Romans also encouraging them to be courageous. and not fear. Then David gave to his son Solomon the plan of the porch of the temple. He was a king who wanted to please his God, his father, and building a temple, but he has too many blood on his hand. He was a warrior. And the Lord said, no, I wouldn't accept such an offering from you. I won't give you such an assignment. I understand what you want to do, but no, thank you. I'm going to give it to your son. Even though that your son is a product of the same act of blood. The people that like to dwell and eat and live in blood, they are not acceptable to God. You want to do that. You want to be different, change. And the plan is building his storehouse, his upper rooms, his inner rooms, and the room for the mercy seat, and the plan of all that he had in mind for the courts of the house of the Lord, and for all the surrounding rooms, for the storehouses of the house of God, and for the storehouses of the dedicated things, also for the divisions of the priests and the Levites, the priests and the Levites, and for all the work of the service of the house of the Lord, and for all the utensils of service in the house of the Lord. Offices, everybody got where things and how things, there is orderliness in the way things ought to be. In the Second Chronicles in 35, 2-5, and I'm trying to give you some background history, that there are tradition and things that is being in existence. You just don't throw away tradition and the history of the house of the Lord because you feel like doing so. Such a power is an abuse of power. Second Chronicle 35, 2-5. He set the priests in their offices. One thing is to be called by God. You might be a priest, but you have no office.